Salute family and welcome back to another video. This is Blacktruthunited. Today we're going to be covering the Green Book, also known as the Negro Motorist Green Book, also known as the Negro Travelers Green Book, which is the precursor to the B1 Rolodex. Now, admittedly, when I started making the B1 Rolodex, I had no idea that this book even existed until people started bringing up that someone had done something similar to this back before the civil rights legislation was passed. So, for those who don't know, I'm going to go into a little bit of the history of the Green Book, share some details from it, and then show some of the crossovers and how the B1 Rolodex is now carrying on that legacy. So, let's get into it. I'm going to read the intro section. Note that I may replace terms like African American or Black American with simply foundational Black American, just for simplicity and clarity's sake. And I'll also add some insights throughout the reading, just to clarify some things. So let me get started. The Green Book was created in 1936 in an America where it was sadly necessary. The rising foundational Black American middle class had the finances and vehicles for travel, but faced a nation where social and legal restrictions barred them from many accommodations. At the time, there were thousands of sundown towns. There are still thousands of sundown towns, by the way, to this day. Some of them open and proud about their status of being a sundown town. Hell, I just saw a recent video from Great Black Shark about some sisters who almost got caught slipping in a sundown town. So those are still around today. Let me continue reading. Places that legally barred Black people from spending the night there at all. Traveling through unknown territory, you could not count on finding a place to stay the night or to even get a meal. This problem was addressed by Victor Hugo Green, the foundational Black American postman who delivered the mail in Hackensack, New Jersey, but lived in Harlem. He began compiling what was launched as the Negro Motorist Green Book, which was at first a guide that covered only the New York area, filled with ads for Black-friendly and often Black-owned New York City businesses. This is something that people get wrong a lot. The Green Book didn't just have Black-owned businesses. In fact, certain states that I've been able to go through, like Alaska and Arizona, had nearly all white or Latino-owned businesses. These were simply places that were safe for us to be. When we didn't have high numbers, they would be institutions/businesses owned by other groups. So not every business in the Green Book was FBA owned, just to let everyone know. Now with the B1 Rolodex, all listings are either FBA owned or B1 owned. Alright, let me continue reading. By the 1983 volume reprinted within, this is, by the way, a compendium which includes multiple years, the guide would cover hotels, restaurants, and other vital Black accessible businesses for all states east of the Mississippi. So he first started off in New York, then he branched out into all the states east of the Mississippi River. The next year, its coverage would reach out to the West Coast, and the guide dropped its visually annoying green interior, printing for more traditional Black ink. Information for locations beyond New York were generally provided by the book's customers, and often by other foundational Black American mailmen across the nation. This is what I ask of all of you, my listeners, those who use the B1 Rolodex. You all are the force multiplier. You're the ones who will know in your specific city, state, region, which institutions are FBA owned, B1, etc. So Victor Green couldn't do this himself. He had a whole force of people calling up, getting businesses listed. With the B1 Rolodex, we have a form that you can use to easily submit a business. Anyway, let me continue reading. The demand was as clear as the need. Green retired from postal work in 1952 to focus on his company, both publishing the guide and expanding into providing travel services. The guide grew, both with more listings and various articles, travel logs, travel advice, automotive reviews, and other things that might be of interest to those journeying beyond their hometown. In 1952, the title changed to the Negro Travelers Green Book, with the explanation that the change was due to the fact that the name was confusing and a good many people thought that it was intended for the motorist only, but is used for any mode of travel. In 1956, the frequency briefly switched to 2 volumes per year, in the spring and fall. It was sold largely through mail order and through service stations, specifically through Esso stations, as Esso not only served FBA customers, they were willing to franchise their stations to FBAs, unlike most petroleum companies of the day. Now, as most of you know, the B1 Rolodex is not for sale. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to blacktruthunited.com and click on the first link, and you have the document all to yourself. The guide was also offered by AAA and distributed elsewhere with advice from the United States Travel Bureau, a government agency. Victor Green died in 1960, having been out of the masthead of the guide for several years. Others, including his widow Alma, would continue his efforts. This is what I hope will occur with the B1 Rolodex, should something happen to me. Others can pick up the baton. Very easily, might I add. Alright, let's keep going. The Green Book lost its apparent vitality when the civil rights laws of the 1960s brought about the end of legal segregation, and it disappeared a couple years later. No, the need for a Green Book never disappeared. Unfortunately, some of our people did not see the wisdom in continuing to support our own businesses after that civil rights legislation, and fell for the con game of integrating our dollars into their society without them reciprocating. So yes, there is still a need, which is why I started the B1 Rolodex. But let me continue reading part of the Green Book, specifically the intro section of pretty much each and every Green Book that was published. I'm just going to read 2 paragraphs. There are thousands of places that the public doesn't know about that aren't listed. Perhaps you might know of some. If so, send their names and addresses and the kinds of businesses so that we might pass it along to the rest of your fellow motorists. This is what I asked for with the B1 Rolodex, submitting those Google forms for the businesses that you know of. Let me skip down here. If the guide is useful, let us know. If not, tell us also, as we appreciate your criticisms. Constructive criticisms, please. If any errors are found, kindly notify the publisher so that they can be corrected in the next issue. Again, this is very insightful. You all are the people on the ground in these different cities. Should a business get sold to an Asian person or change its location or whatever it may be, I'm the person you notify. And you can easily reach out to me via that email that's located in the intro and help section of the B1 Rolodex. But anyway, let me show you this real quick. The Green Book also had an informative section at the beginning that gave updates as far as the activism that was taking place. So it kind of kept everyone up to speed on what was going on and where. Again, very useful information. Let me give you an example of a page inside of the Green Book. Some of you may say that it looks almost like the yellow pages with a couple of businesses having ads clearly larger than the other listings, but for the most part each business had at least the business name and the address. In the B1 Rolodex, you have the general area, you have the name of the business, some of the things that the business either does or the products it produces, and then a way you can do business with them. Typically that's a website nowadays. So just cool how this part has advanced to move with the times. So shout out to Victor Green. We're carrying on the work right now, and slowly but surely, with the help of all of you, we're going to put together a more comprehensive version of the Green Book with the B1 Rolodex. So far, as most of you know, we're well over 1,000 entries. I actually recently did some research as far as looking up businesses that are still around from the Green Book days, and I did find some, which I'll show to you later on. And finding those actually inspired me to get the physical copy of the book and to go through at least that last year of the Green Book line by line in order to find the surviving businesses from Victor Green's book. And remember that his most recent version is going to be the most accurate version to go off of, which is from 1963. So that's really the update to the B1 Rolodex. I'm currently going through page by page, attempting to find businesses that are still surviving. But anyway, let me give you the full update in the B1 Rolodex. Let me show you here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the very end. And here at the bottom, most of these, after Sister ZZ's entry, are companies from the Green Book, this auto service place being one of them. In fact, here in the products and services section, you're able to see up here at the top the fact that it's a historical site. Same thing with Gates Barbecue. Magnolia House, which is our first hotel, thankfully. We finally got a hotel on the list. Of course, you have the links to each of these. The first one's on Facebook, so I won't go to that one. The next one's here in Kansas City, as well as a few other locations. As you can tell, this business not only survived, but expanded. I love to see that. And now let's check out that hotel. This hotel has pretty much remained the same. Obviously, they've renovated, but they've tried to keep things, for the most part, the same. It's a historical place. You're able to eat, you're able to have weddings, you're able to spend the night. It's a cool place. And just like any other hotel, you'll check which dates are available and book your stay. Here we have a funeral home, Levy's Funeral Home, which is still around. The descendants are still in control. Unfortunately, you will see Obama pop up here pretty soon. Let me see. There he is. Yep, there he is again. But anyway, I didn't see any obvious cooning, so they're still listed in the B1 Rolodex. And by the way, I check all of these just to make sure that they're still owned by an FBA before adding them. As I stated before, not all the listings in the Green Book were FBA owned in the first place, so it takes a lot of research to go through each and every one. And then that last one at the bottom is a new one. That's a sister in Texas, so that's not from the Green Book. But anyway, that's the update to that. I do want to state this real quick. For those who I've reached out to who have submitted listings, if I had questions and you didn't respond, your listings won't be there forever. I still have the details from your entry, but just know that they won't be there forever. I'm still waiting for some of you to respond. Anyway, here in the anti-blacklist, I did want to give you an update here. Obviously, you can see that I added a lot. Here at the beginning, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything, so I just put various on some of these since the wealth was transferred. A little hard to do research on older businesses, but I just wanted to add those at the very beginning just to remind our people. But anyway, when you scroll through, you can see that I've added a lot more. Also, those red markings, those are for businesses that are just a little too big for now. Keyword for now, to boycott. They're typically militarily backed. They get all types of government subsidies, and they're essentially welfare businesses, the quote-unquote too big to fail businesses, which we would need to strategize to comprehensively boycott. But anyway, let me scroll through. As you can see, plenty of entries added. Universities, which are also businesses. Down here to the Steak and Shake business, which has recently co-signed some Charlie Kirk stuff. And the last one here is in Georgia, so that's the update on the anti-blacklist. So definitely, if you have another business to add, go up here to the top and submit a business there, or go to blacktruthunited.com and simply click on that link to submit a form for the anti-blacklist. And of course, there's a form to submit an FBA or B1 business to the B1 Rolodex. Alright, let's check out the map. The first thing you'll probably notice is that there are a lot more gray dots. Now, if that's annoying you, if it's hard to see what businesses to support, you can remove those anti-black businesses, which are the gray dots, by just clicking that check mark. Bam, they're all gone. You can put them back if you want. I'll just take it off just to scroll into a region. Here we are in Chicago. You can click through the different businesses, plenty of places to support. You can then click on the anti-blacklist to see which businesses and institutions are in your specific area. Sometimes that's easier when you're zoomed in. And of course, you can see the reason why the business has been listed in the anti-blacklist. Alright, real quick, let me show you in Greensboro, North Carolina. Let me search for this real quick. The new hotel that we have. Looks like it's right in the heart of the city. Got a couple of other businesses in the region, soul food spot. So when you click on this link, I do want to remind everyone that there will be a redirect notice. So that link will be the same exact link that's in the B1 Rolodex. Should you go to the B1 Rolodex, type in using Control F or Command F, Magnolia House, you would click on that link. It'll be the exact same link. It's just an extra step when you're in the B1 Rolodex map. Takes you to the exact same place though. But anyway, this is the update to the B1 Rolodex. Slowly but surely, I'm going to go through each and every page inside of the Green Book and try to find more businesses that are still surviving that we can now support using the more updated version called the B1 Rolodex. So, as usual, the B1 Rolodex will be in the description of this video. I do want to thank the supporters of the B1 Rolodex real quick before I sign off. A shout out to Flintwater, Shabazz Novara, FBA Queen, and Shawana Fleming. Much respect and thank you for supporting the work. Now with all that being said, be one and be blessed, family. Peace.